Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pits of Motorcast. This is your host, Dave. I got a special guest, Jimmy Sackuvich, Pro Charger, top dragster driver. How you doing, Jimmy?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Not bad. So, have you done any racing this year with the COVID going on?
Yeah, we've mainly had a lot of races in the Midwest Pro Mod Series, and we've actually done a few NHRA divisionals. So it's been a pretty full calendar. I'd have to say we've done 6 or 7 events so far.
No. How did you get into drag racing? Was it your dad?
Yeah. I guess I'd seen junior dragsters at the track, and it's like, oh, let's see if maybe sometime we could try that. And, I'd always been around drag racing. I mean, he'd always go bracket racing, and I would be with him at the track, and I'd sometimes ride in what would be the passenger side of the car up to tech inspection. So I think that's just kind of where I fell in love with it, shall we say.
So he got you a junior dragster?
Yeah, I guess I left that part out. I was 9 years old at the time, and I think the second race I ever ran, I ran in the Division 5 championships, and somehow walked out of there with the Wally.
Wow.
So maybe it was destined to be.
So how many years did you do the junior dragster for?
Until I turned 16, so 7.
Then that was pretty successful for you. You got a Wally, huh?
Yeah, and then I got like a pocket-sized one at a National Dragster Challenge, so I guess I ended up with 2 of them, or 1.5, however you want to call it.
After the junior dragster, after that, did you move straight into the Pro Charger top dragster?
No, I ran Super Comp for a few races and bracket raced a little bit, but with Dad running Pro Mod, I really needed to be in something that we were going to run together, just because it would cut down on travel time and things of that nature. So I moved into top dragster with a nitrous motor at first, and it was fast for back then, but the fields got faster and faster. You were starting to see a lot of 390s on the board, and we went to a Pro Charger and it in a big block platform, and it ran 390s. But then once again, the class kept evolving, and soon 390s were replaced by 380s, 370s, and even in some cases 360s. So we decided to set the program up further, and we went to a 481X with the same Pro Charger, and instantly made 1,500 more horsepower.
Wow!
And now we're running 610s at 240 miles an hour in the quarter mile, and we've been as fast as 373 at 200 in the eighth. So it's definitely a front runner right now.
Not bad at all, my friend. So now you crew for your dad's Pro Mod. What's your responsibility on the Pro Mod?
I liken myself to just the grunt. I'll do whatever I need to get it up there ready for the next round. If that means hooking the transmission cooler up, I'll do that. If it means hooking up the engine chiller, I'll do that. If it means taking the drive shaft out because we got to service the transmission, that's what I got to do. So a little bit of everything.
Now, do you have any, besides your dad, do you have any other drag racers that, inspire you?
I mean, obviously I was a fan of the pros way back when. I think I was probably the biggest one for me was Larry Dixon in the Miller car. I mean, something was kind of iconic about that, and the wars with him and Kenny Bernstein way back in the day. But I don't know. I really like Jed Coughlin. He's a hell of a pro stock racer and even bracket racer. So, I think those are probably the biggest influences for me. I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of racing categories, so there's kind of a list of, I wouldn't say influences, but, people that went about it the right way, and I'd like to hold myself to that same standard.
Now, do you hope to go into nitromethane someday?
I would love to. It's just the thing with that is sponsorship, funding, you name it. I mean, you gotta have a team of 8 guys, and very seldom are they gonna drop everything they want to do and live out your dream with you.
Yeah.
But if that opportunity were to ever arise, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Now, do you have any sponsorship at all for the Top Dragster?
Yeah, I have Flying A Motorsports, Alan Cape. He sells motorhomes and trailers, and he's helped out me and my dad, probably helped my dad out for 20 plus years now. So, and I guess when I started racing, he took genuine interest in it, and he's been there since day one for me. And, I think he and I have a very good working relationship, and I hope to be with him as long as I can be.
That's your only sponsor?
Well, I have a few other people that help me out, as in NGK Spark Plugs, Proline, because we did a lot of development work with them on the fuel mapping, along with Fuel Tech with our current setup, and a couple of the local companies, ProCharger, Aeromotive, and Weld Wheels. They're all in Kansas City, and they're all featured on our car. So we're trying to keep it in America, keep it local with our program, and I think it's been a very good partnership. Hoosier Tire Midwest, they've come on board in the last couple of years and just keep delivering great products to us. It's on all 4 corners of our race cars, both of them, and we hold them to the highest regard.
Awesome. Now, who's your crew that keeps this dragster running?
Mainly it's me and my dad. My mom loves to come to the races and give me a pep talk underneath the tower. My brothers help me out if there needs to be anything changed on the engine or transmission or anything like that. They're the first ones to offer to help. My Uncle Bob, who bracket raced a long time ago, he's always been there as kind of, mental support and trying to give me a few tips and tricks about how to drive the finish line at the kind of speeds we're going. And, it's also about driving both ends of the racetrack, let alone the top end, but you also got to be deadly consistent on the tree. And right now we got it working in our favor on both ends of the racetrack for sure.
So now, Jimmy, what do you enjoy most about being a drag racer?
I think it's just the speed and the thrill of competition. It's sort of not the same thing as like football, where you have a bunch of fans kicking and screaming, when you don't do so well. It's just more, it's an individual sport. It's a lot like golf in that way, but it's so fast, and the excitement of it definitely gives you that same sort of vibes as, combat sports or anything of that nature. So I think it's just the intensity and excitement of it all.
Now, is there anything that you hate about being a drag racer?
The fact that my buddies can't come and watch me race, because all the races are 3 or 4 hours away. But I'd say that's about it.
So now, after the years you've been drag racing now, what still keeps you passionate about drag racing?
I don't know, just the pursuit of success and wanting to see what my limits are, and I don't think I've found them yet. And I think that's the exciting part that keeps me going.
Now, do you think you could become a better driver, and if so, how do you achieve that?
I absolutely believe I can become a better driver. You gotta keep learning every time you go down the racetrack, and every time you pull in that gate, the variables change. And I feel as if what's going to get me there is, just dedication and belief in myself and belief in the others around me.
All right, now Jimmy, if you can have the fans remember one thing about Jimmy, what would you want that one thing for the fans to remember about Jimmy Sackuvich?
That I never gave in.
All right, now, what do you prefer, quarter mile or eighth mile?
Quarter mile.
But probably eighth mile for saving on parts, wear and tear, and all that good stuff.
Well, our car doesn't exactly have the sort of wear and tear you would think a car that runs as fast as it does. I mean, even on a 610 pass, all we do is put a battery charger on it, put fuel in it, and pack the parachutes, and we're ready for the next round.
What kind of fuel you running on?
Alcohol, methanol, whatever you want to call it.
Now, is it injected or blown?
Fuel injected. Electronic. Fuel injected.
All right, now, what was it like for you the first time ever getting behind the wheel of this Dragster?
I realized very quickly that it's unlike anything I've ever driven. It's a hardtail car. I'd always driven suspended cars. And down the racetrack, it is super smooth. But in the shutdown area, if there's a bump, you definitely notice it. The other thing is just the power is instant, delivery. Usually with a suspended car, it compresses shocks and turns the tires and kind of propels out of there kind of nonchalantly. But with this car, it's just instant. Snap your finger, and it seems like it's way faster, but it isn't. But it gives you the sensation that it's a lot faster.
So now, what year did you get your dragster license?
My top dragster license?
Yeah.
I actually am looking at the time slip. I have it framed 27th of July, 2016.
Now, what track?
So I've been doing it close to 5 years now.
Now, what track was that at when you got licensed?
Heartland Park, Topeka. Or as it's now known, Heartland Motorsports Park in Topeka, Kansas.
So who signed off for your license?
My dad and Randy Meyer, a top alcohol dragster driver.
Nice.
At the time.
No, in the top alcohol the dragster field you're in, do you get any advice from any of the other drivers?
Yeah, you really don't get many advice from Top Dragster, but I get advice from Randy's daughters and Randy himself. But I've also kind of got some advice from Bob McCosh, Top Alcohol Funny Car Racer. Actually, I recently went back to Frank Hawley's drag racing school to get my super gas license, and he was there with his employees and crew on his funny car. So he actually gave quite a few pointers and said, if you'd ever want to consider getting in a funny car or something someday, just you know where to find me.
Now, the funny car, is that on your bucket list?
It is. It's one of those kind of last true driving challenges in drag racing. I mean, you're swapping feet and staging at 6,000 RPM or more. So that's always appealed to me. It's definitely one of the most fun classes to watch. I don't think you have to be much of a drag racing fan to understand that.
So what do you think about Stevie Fast moving into the Top Alcohol funny car?
I was there and he did pretty good. I don't know how far into it he's going to get, but I think good on him. I know he wants to race Top Fuel someday, and I feel like he could drive pretty much anything if he wanted to. So it was really cool to see and be there and experience that. Someone doing something that you also want to do. It's pretty cool to see all that.
Definitely. Now, do you have anything else on the drag racing bucket list?
Well, obviously, besides Top Fuel and the funny cars, I'd have to say Pro Mod. It's what Dad's driven forever, and I think I've always been a fan of it long before it was an actual nationally run category, and it's always fun to watch. And people like to stay up in the stands and watch that a lot more than when we're running. So I'd have to say that one.
All right, now Jimmy, when you're out there on the track in the top dragster, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions when you're out there?
I always have to get in on the left side of the car. I don't know if it's easier that way. It's just kind of what I've always done, even in juniors, and of course on a door car you have to get in on the left-hand side. So I think that's pretty much the only thing, other than I asked the big man upstairs to give me a clean, safe run, and hopefully a successful one. So yeah, not too many rituals. I usually put the left club on first too. I don't know why.
Now, for this Top Dragster, is there a lot of preparation that goes into getting that dragster ready for a weekend?
No, we just change oil and fill up our fuel jugs and just make sure we've got plenty of supplies on board. And if something happens, we're ready for it. But no, there's not a whole lot that goes into it, other than loading it in the trailer.
Now, do you have any favorite tracks?
Well, I've raced it pretty much. I think I've raced in close to 15 to 20 states. And I'd have to say Topeka is always a sentimental favorite because, that's kind of the closest thing we have to a hometown track. Galat in North Carolina, super smooth. Love that racetrack. I want to get back out there sometime. XRP in Ferris, Texas. We run there in the Midwest Pro Mod Series. I love that racetrack, and they always fill the seats up. Probably the most picturesque one is Bristol, just with the Smoky Mountains and everything in the in the backdrop, it's an incredible place. So, if I could narrow it down, it'd probably be close to Bristol or XRP, just as far as atmosphere goes.
Now, have you ever been to Kansas International Dragway?
In Wichita?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've driven by it. I've never raced there. I actually go to school at Wichita State, so I have a lot of friends that race there. It's just I've never made it out there in my car yet, so, and I'm not going to say won't. So.
Now, are there any tracks that you have not been to that you would love to race on one of these days?
How many? I want to race at all of them, but probably ZMAX, Gainesville, Pomona, Seattle, and Sonoma.
Now, let's talk about your fire suit and stuff like that. Where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
Well, the suit right now is a Simpson 20-layer, one-piece. It's very, very, very hot on summer days. I liken it to a sauna suit. I mean, you come back from a run, you're pretty much soaked. There's just no two ways about it. We actually run a cool shirt that I put on, and it pumps ice-cold water through it. So that relieves it a little bit, but still when you put that visor down and, your hot breath and everything, it gets very hot in the helmet. And the helmet's also Simpson. I run a amber visor usually, but sometimes I run a purple mirrored smoke kind of visor. And then nighttime, I'll always run the amber. I don't really like the clear visor. I always feel like it's going to fog up, and so it gets in my head. So I just don't put it on. I wear a Hans device. I know a lot of people have moved to the R3 or Next Gen or whatever other head and neck restraint, but I just use the good old school Hans. I use a Sparco glove. I use Sparco shoes, and that's about it.
Now, as far as being in that, the hot fire suit, that's probably another thing you hate about drag racing. Sitting in, the staging lanes, and someone has a oil down and track, and you're stuck waiting there in that fire suit, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a long enough oil down, I'll be the first one to get out of the car. I don't like being in there longer than I have to be. It's just a kind of a comfort thing. But the seat's comfy and everything, but it's just the gear that we have to run. It's very, very hot in that vehicle, even if it's open air. So.
Now, let's talk about your quickest time in that top dragster again. What was your quickest time in the quarter mile again?
Well, we've been 593 at 249, almost 250 miles an hour.
Now, what track was that at?
SRCA, Kansas, Great Bend, Kansas. It was the site of the first NHRA national event. So that's also one of my favorite tracks. Only been there, raced there once, but I loved it because it's got character. So.
And then what did you say was your quickest time in the 8th mile?
373 at 200. That was at Tulsa.
All right. Now, have you hit any milestones in your racing career so far?
I don't know, because I'm never content with anything, it seems like. But, to finish top 10 in points, I think I've done that close to 10 times. And, it's always great to finish near the top the best competitors in your class. I'd like to get a championship in top dragster. I think that's unfinished business, but I feel as if we got a vehicle and a driver and a team that can do it. So,
all right.
To answer your question, no, I have not hit any milestones yet.
All right. Now, throughout your racing career so far, have you had any accidents or close calls?
Had the throttle hang a few times, but that was just mainly down to the tow hook wasn't low enough, and I was coming off of the throttle in a way I shouldn't have been, so that was mainly my doing. I had a drive shaft come loose and pop a left rear tire at 190 miles an hour, but I was able to keep it in my lane, off the wall, and out of way of the other competitor, and I was able to get out and wave that I was okay.
All right, now in top dragster field, do you have a greatest competitor within those guys?
I want to beat them all, so no real one that I single out. They're all trying to do the same thing I'm doing, and I want to rip their throat out just like they want to rip mine out. So,
now, are you pretty good friends with all these guys?
Yeah, I think there's just a mutual respect for what we're trying to do. I've really not ran into that many bad people or shady characters, so the longer that stays true, the better that is for me.
All right, now Jimmy, outside of drag racing, you have any other hobbies?
Really taken up golf during this COVID time, whether it's by myself or with a couple buddies and my dad. I like to get out there. It's kind of the perfect mix between sport and nature. You can still hear the birds chirping and everything, so it's kind of a neat escape. I like to listen to music as well as play music. I have a acoustic guitar, bass guitar, and a ukulele, so I haven't been playing them as much as I should be, but I think just all forms of music entertain me. So it could be rap one day, it could be country the next, it could be hard rock the next day. So.
Now, with these instruments, did you learn on your own, or did you take any lessons for any of these instruments?
Yeah, pretty much always self-taught. I just grabbed a couple of tab books, and I think the first thing I learned how to play was Holiday's Bassline by Green Day on the bass guitar.
Now, is anyone else in your... Go ahead.
And then on the acoustic guitar, I think the first song I learned was Wonderwall. It wasn't Smoke on the Water, to be clear, because I know a lot of people like to play that.
Now, is anybody else in your family musically inclined?
No, I don't think so. No.
Only you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, my parents and brothers, they all like music and like good music, but I don't think any of them really play an instrument. I know my grandma played the accordion way back when, so that was, I guess, kind of where the love of music came from.
So now, Jimmy, if you were able to hit a time travel machine and go backwards in time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
No, it's been everything that I've wanted out of it so far. If I could do a time travel forward, I'd hope I could be in a top fuel dragster or something like that one of these days. But no, I don't have any regrets of anything I've done. I would have liked to have had a few final rounds back and things of that nature, but no, nothing I would do different.
Now, as far as your whole drag racing career goes, from juniors up, have you had a most embarrassing moment out on the track?
Forgetting to put the car in first gear after the burnout, and you know how trans brakes work, they only work in first gear, and I had it in second, so I put the trans brake on and went to mat the throttle, and the car took off and had like a 800 red light, so that was pretty embarrassing. So I'd have to say that. Wow. It was for potentially a semi-final appearance for a race for I think it was $10,000. So that was probably the one I wish I could go back and do that differently.
All right, so here's some fun questions now. What is your favorite food you like to eat?
Oh man, snack or like an entree?
No, real food, man.
Real food. Okay. I like a good steak. I also like baked chicken. Probably baked chicken.
All right, let me ask you, what is your favorite snack then?
Popcorn, without a doubt. If I smell it, I want it.
Now, what kind of popcorn? Just butter?
Just movie theater butter, Orville Redenbacher's movie theater butter.
Now, what's your favorite beverage to drink?
Dr. Pepper, but I've been trying to get off of dark pop right now. So probably Sprite or 7-Up. I do like a nice Michelob Ultra at the end of the day.
Ice cold Michelob Light Ultra, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, as far as favorite music, you said hard rock, country. What else?
Yeah. If I were to pick a band, probably Queen. Love me some Freddie Mercury.
So who's your favorite hard rock band?
Nirvana. God rest Kurt Cobain.
Now, you like Soundgarden?
Yes, sir, I do actually.
Audio Slave?
No, I can't get into them.
Yeah. All right, so now you listen to heavy metal too?
I have my days. If I were to pick somebody from heavy metal, probably Saliva.
Now, what about country music? You have a favorite country artist?
Right now, it's Parker McCollum or Luke Combs.
Now, what's your favorite song to play on bass?
Probably Holiday, because that's about the only one that's really difficult that I know how to play. I also know how to play Everlong from the Foo Fighters, so I like that one too.
Now, would you ever want to play in a band someday?
Potentially. I know one of my friends, John Salemi. He's in a metal band, and I guess drag racers could in theory play in bands, but I just haven't had the opportunity to rise up or anything like that. But I always hear people looking for basses, so you never know.
Now, when you play bass, you use your fingers or with a pick?
Finger.
Yeah, very good.
Just I've always done the finger. I've tried the pick and it just don't feel right.
Now you have a 4-string bass?
Yes, sir.
Now what?
I've looked into a 5-string, but the kind of music I like to play. 4 is plenty.
What kind of bass you play?
An Ibanez, Black Eagle.
And what kind
They remade it from 1976 as a limited edition, and
Nice.
I was looking to get into a bass, and it was either going to be that or a P bass. So I kind of like that styling, and it's got kind of a hole in the top of it, at the head of it. So I think it's very, very good looking. It's got a mother of pearl eagle on it. It's pretty sweet.
Very cool, man. So what kind of amp you play out of?
PV right now. I want to get an orange, but when you're in college and everything like that, the funds aren't exactly there.
Right. Now, do you have any pedals?
No pedals. Not yet. The amp I have has a few effects on it, but once again, your funds are a little low. So.
Right. Right. So, who are some of your biggest bass players? Top bass players that you like?
Probably Mike Dirt and Dave Grohl. Geezer Butler.
Yeah, Black Sabbath. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Can't go wrong with Black Sabbath, man.
No, sir.
So, does your dad listen to rock music?
Yeah, mainly classic rock.
So that's how you got into Black Sabbath and stuff like that?
Yeah. AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Deep Purple, Rolling Stones, Queen.
Right.
All of them are good to listen to. His favorite is Bob Seger, actually. So I tend to gravitate towards his music as well.
Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you watch a lot of movies, Jimmy?
Yeah, I do, actually.
All right. Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Inglourious Bastards, Quentin Tarantino movie. I really like that one. As well as the Major League franchise, Major League 1, Major League 2, Back to the Minors. I like those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a closet Charlie Sheen fan, so.
Yeah. Now, when you were growing up as a kid, did you have a favorite cartoon to watch?
Definitely Teen Titans.
Never heard that one.
You haven't? Man, must be under a rock.
I'm probably too old.
Actually, the name from my car, Cyborg, is one of the Teen Titans. So that may or may not have been where he came from.
All right, when you're at the track, Jimmy, on a race day, how's your eating habits? Do you eat regularly, or do you eat light and wait?
Not much, actually.
So you wait till the races are done.
Like maybe sorry, what now?
I see. You wait till the races are done, then eat.
Well, I try to get like a bowl of cereal or some fruit in the morning, and then maybe if we're cooking burgers or hot dogs during the middle of the day, I'll have one. And then we'll probably have a lot bigger dinner. So I guess kind of all roads lead to dinner at the end of the day.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
You have a biggest pet peeve?
Oh, man. When people leave doors open after they were closed before they walked in. Or leave them cracked. I also don't like footsteps behind me. So if I'm walking down a hallway and I hear footsteps behind me, it drives me crazy.
I know. If you didn't become a drag racer, you have any idea what you would have what you'd be doing?
be an engineer, so I guess that's kind of a backup. But yeah, a musician would be nice, but obviously, you know, I don't really think I'm quite as talented as some people that make music. So, you know, I think something along the lines of engineering would be one of my things that I would like to be doing if I wasn't drag racing. Whether it be working for aerospace company or something in materials or something like that.
All right, now what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Probably winning that Wally in like my second or third race ever. Like to get back to doing more of that.
Yeah, hopefully you can win some more big ones.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes then.
Yep. So Jimmy, if people want to follow you and see where you're going to be racing at, what's the best way for people to follow you? Would it be the Sackuvich page on Facebook?
Yeah, you can find news about me and Dad there. I also have my own personal fan page, whatever you want to call it, on Facebook, at JS572. You can also add me on Instagram at Jimmer_572_TD, or on Twitter at JDog572.
Awesome. Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you very much for doing this interview today, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Now, you have any final words or, shout outs, any kind of good stuff like that before we close out?
Shout out to COVID for making our lives so dang difficult right now. So. And shout out to Mom, shout out to Dad, and everyone that's got me here and will continue to get me there.
Awesome. Well, Jimmy, I wish you the... Go ahead.
All my sponsors, competitors, friends, family, everything. You guys are awesome. And shout out to you. Shout out to you to have me on. I like kind of having to talk about racing, but also branching off into talking to something not about racing. So.
Right. Yeah, try to make the interviews a little bit different,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So, I hope you had fun.
All right, same to you.
Did you have fun?
I hope you had fun too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I always have fun talking to all you drag racers, hearing all your stories, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we could maybe do this again sometime.
I try to promote all you guys best as I can.
Oh, I definitely appreciate that, man. Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck with the drag racing season.
All right. I'll keep you posted how it goes.
Hopefully next time we talk, you'll tell me about the big one you won.
All right. Let's make that a plan then.
All right, Jimmy, you have a great night.
Same to you, sir.
Right, bye.
Bye.